Hello everyone, welcome back to Simulated Heaven. Hope you're doing well. Recently I bought the simulator racing game Le Mans Ultimate, and after buying Le Mans Ultimate it kind of got me thinking, how do the other sim games that I own stack up when it comes to the kind of content that Le Mans Ultimate has? So my idea was to run the Porsche 911 at Spa in 3 games. Firstly, I'm going to run it in Automobilista 2. After that, I'm going to run it in ACC. Then after that, I'm going to run it in Le Mans Ultimate, and I'm going to see out of the 3 which I feel is the best. I'm actually looking more for the feeling, the force feedback and the feeling of the cars and the graphics of the cars and the tracks and everything. Basically, which one impresses me the most? Firstly, there are a couple of caveats for this, obviously. Number one, I'm using a Moser steering wheel and base, the R16. I believe this is the GS wheel. I always get mixed up whether it's the CS wheel or the GS wheel. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So obviously, if you have a different force feedback wheel, you might have a different experience. I've actually spent a long time in the morning honing the setup of the wheel on all 3 of the games, trying to get it feeling as good as I can. The other thing that you need to bear in mind, the other caveat, is that I'm out of practice when it comes to sim racing. Yes, I know this track fairly well, but I haven't really raced any GT cars on this track, and I'm out of practice. So this is not a video about my driving skill. My driving skill is going to be really bad, but it's more about trying to compare these 3 games. Okay, so without further ado, let's go. So like I said, Automobilista 2 first in the Porsche 911. Let's see how this feels. Now, I have been running all 3 games prior to this video in the morning a fair bit, so that my feelings are not only based on this video. One thing I'll say is this game, the graphics are pretty good. They are pretty up there when you compare with the other 2 games. This game is running on the Project Cars 2 engine, I believe. The MAD engine, whatever they call it. Now, I really like the feeling of the curves in this game. I really like the feeling of the curves. Like, the curves feel really good in this game. And in general, the force feedback is really good. It's heavy, but not like crazily heavy. I definitely feel the bumps in the road. So yeah, I'm kind of liking this. It feels good. Like I said, I am rather out of practice when it comes to sim racing in general, and yeah, years ago when I used to race this track a lot in iRacing, I wasn't racing very powerful vehicles on it, you know, I was racing very low powered vehicles. So yeah, my driving in this video will not be the best. I will say as well, oopsie, I think I didn't need to shift down there, but anyway, yeah, I think the other thing is the game looks good, but the performance is really good. Like, I am finding that the FPS is really good, the game runs really smooth, right? It was was quite easy for me to get this game looking and whoa, change gear, dude. Looking and performing well. Wow, my gear changes are all over the place right now. And the Porsche 911 was the only vehicle I could find that was available in all 3 games. That's why we're using this Porsche 911. But yeah, I would say that I like this. Feels pretty good. I like the feeling of the curbs. I definitely have some really good force feedback that is coming through, like to tell me about the car, how the car is doing. So yeah, this is a really good start. Obviously, it's gonna it's gonna be hard for me to completely make a conclusion yet until I've also tried the other game, and I just went off-road very badly. So let's end the portion of the video for Automobilista 2. So here we are in ACC, and I'm in another Porsche. It's not the exact same one, but it's pretty similar, and I'm at Spa. So let's see how this feels in comparison. That was a good start, wasn't it? Now the first thing I'll say is that I played around with the settings on my Moser wheel, and I can't seem to get any feeling from the curbs or any good feeling from the curbs. Again, this could be a thing only with the Moser wheel, I don't know. But in this particular game, I have played around with it a lot, and for the life of me, the curbs always seem pretty lifeless. There is force feedback for other things other than the curbs, obviously. It feels okay, but I would say in general the force feedback doesn't feel as alive as the last game. It's not bad, it certainly works, and it feels pretty good. But for me, when I'm comparing with AMS2 that I just literally played, I would say that this is slightly less. In terms of the graphics, I would say they're kind of on par with AMS2. I would say that I actually prefer AMS2 slightly, although they are very similar really, and I think that'll be really down to your own personal preference. Now weirdly, that curb felt fine, but most of the other curbs don't feel anything really, and even if it's not a ridged curb, I would expect that you would have some kind of feeling that you were going over a curb. Yeah, so it's like some of the curbs are okay, some of them aren't, so I don't really know what is going on with that, and I'm so bad at driving this track right now. But yeah, that's not what this video is about, thankfully. Yeah, again, that curve, I didn't really feel anything. Same with that one. Now, the inside one there, so is it only inside curves? Okay, I think I've worked it out here. For some weird reason, when you hit a curb on the inside, it feels okay. There's, you know, some kind of feeling. But when you hit a curb on the outside, you don't feel anything really. But no, that one I felt something. So I don't know what's going on with this game, but the curb feeling, it's weird. Like that one I just went over, I didn't really feel anything again. So it's like, I don't know if this is a Moser racing issue or if it's a general issue, but it's like there doesn't seem to be a consistency with how the curbs feel. Whereas on the last game, AMS2, it felt really consistent all of the time. And like in general, yes, the force feedback of this game is good, but I would say that for my own personal taste, I would slightly prefer the AMS2 force feedback over this. It just doesn't feel as active and full of life as the last game. And it's like sometimes the wheel seems to go dead, right? And the actual strength of the force feedback is okay, but it doesn't feel as much as in the last game. In the last game, I actually had to turn the force feedback strength down, right? Okay, so I think I've raced enough of this. Last but not least, let's move on to Le Mans Ultimate. Welcome back. So here I am in Le Mans Ultimate, also in a Porsche 911 at Spa. So let's see how this compares. All over the road. Blue flagged already. Where are you going, pal? I should really have turned off the AI, so it's exactly the same as the other two games, but never mind, it doesn't really make much of a difference, really. So, what I would say is this game has by far the best force feedback of the three games. And again, this could be only on my Moser wheel, but it feels amazing. The curbs feel amazing. Like, it's not only that I can feel the curbs, it's that they feel awesome. And I've already had to turn down the force feedback quite a lot, and it's still really strong, feels really realistic to me. And I suppose it makes sense because R Factor 2, obviously this game is heavily based on R Factor 2. And R Factor 2 always had really good force feedback. And that was on any steering wheel, like way back in the day when I had Thrustmaster wheels and stuff like that. Then it was still awesome, R Factor 2. So yeah, I suppose it makes sense. In terms of graphics, ooh, it's so hard to judge, really. I mean, yeah, they're certainly pretty up to par. I would say that ACC seemed to have the most amount of detail, but these graphics are not bad. They're pretty good. I really like the graphics of the race cars. Whoops, sorry mate. I really like the graphics of the race cars, and yeah, I think the graphics of the track are pretty good. Really, I mean, honestly, all three games are not that much of a difference in terms of the graphics. Like, you're not going to play any of these three games and be like, oh, the graphics are awful. For any of them, they're all pretty much the same. So, yeah, it's not really a consideration for me. It's weird that the AI is so slow. I haven't really used AI in this game, so I definitely need to turn it up if I do use AI. And again, the curbs feel amazing, the force feedback is really strong. Feels really good. Yeah, the whole thing is pretty amazing. I mean, I held off on this game for quite a long time, right? But I did finally buy it over the weekend just to see if it was, you know, the ultimate when it comes to this style of GT Le Mans content, right? And I have to say, it's pretty compelling. Pretty compelling. So yeah, I'm going to finish this lap, then I'll kind of attempt to do a roundup. Oh, going too fast there. That car looks really cool, doesn't it?
That time was a 2:37.28.
Yeah, the curbs are amazing. It's a real struggle doing that bit. Right, anyway, let's pull over in probably the worst place. Right. Okay. Okay, so let's do a little bit of an overview here. So, of course, this is all my own opinion. This is also using the Moser steering wheel. It could be different if you have another steering wheel. But for me, this is what I would say. If you really want the ultimate when it comes to GT cars in a sim game, then I would say buy Le Mans Ultimate. However, if you want more than only the GT cars, if you want a more rounded experience with a lot of different vehicles, then I would go for Automobilista 2, because honestly, it wasn't that far off. I would say that the force feedback is slightly better in Le Mans Ultimate, but in general, those two games are pretty similar, and I think that you would still actually get a lot of fun out of Automobilista 2, but then you would have a lot more content that you could choose, because that game has a lot of content, right, of all kinds of cars. Whereas for this game, this is really if you want the ultimate, but you only want to be racing the GT cars, then I would go for this game. I can't really recommend ACC unless you get it on very high discount. If it's really cheap, then that might be why. But for me, the feeling of the car, the force feedback is good, but I would say that when you compare it with the other two games, for me it's slightly lacking. So there you go, that's my view. Then if you have another view, I would love to know it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.